Hey guys, Peter here to tell you about the debut record from Cobra The Impaler, Colossal Gods, out February 25th on Listenable Records. The album has 8 tracks, 42 minutes in length, and they are a Belgian heavy metal band. Now, this is a record that offers a lot of diversity of sound, execution, approach, construction. An album that pulls the listener in a lot of different directions, song in and song out. Normally when I listen to a record like this, I feel a little disconnected from the overall experience because the songs have quality individually, but they don't really connect with one another, so I feel like I have to reset my expectations with every single track that goes by. This record minimized that experience. It almost removed it by allowing 2 key elements to be the pillars of the entire record, and that is the guitars and vocals. Not that they're doing the same thing song in and song out, or that they're doing things that are similar to one another, but the quality and consistency of that quality stays very uniform throughout those 2 elements, throughout all 8 songs. This allows the record to be fluid, to be dynamic, to be volatile, engaging, but also give the listener a sense that the ride that you started on is still the ride that you're on, song in and song out, all the way to the end. This is very important for the record to have power and strength, not just in the individual songs, but also as the collective. As far as the soundscape is concerned, the record is classic heavy metal at its core. That's where it all starts. But if it was just classic heavy metal, it wouldn't be as diverse as it is. So you have other genres coming in and having a positive impact in the influences that create these songs. Elements of groove, elements of thrash, a little bit of sludge, a little bit of prog, really making the sound quality outstanding, giving it a lot of texture, a lot of volume, making it layered, making it with depth, with substance, a sound that has something to give, that doesn't feel flat, that doesn't feel strained. It feels robust in its nature. One of the great things about the sound on this album and the influences that that sound has is that you can look at each and every single song and try to break them down and see what influenced specific parts of the song. What genre dictated the track to go into that direction? I thought that was the best thing about the soundscape because it's so clear, it's so crisp that you're really able to unbox all the different elements that went into making that specific song and then try to narrow them down in terms of what drove them there. That allows the tracks to have a lot more playability because it's not just about the enjoyment of listening to the song, it's also the enjoyment of breaking the song down and trying to understand exactly what the building blocks were. Now, as far as specific elements, I have to mention the drums outside of those 2 key pillars of vocals and guitars. And the reason I want to mention the drums is because Dirk Verburen of Megadeth and ex-Soilwork laid the drums down on this record. So right away you know you're going to have quality drums from start to finish. But he also understood exactly what the dynamics were of this album, what the band wanted for its sound. So while being powerful, while creating a strong bass line, while grounding the album, they don't overpower the experience. There's just another element within it. Now, guitars and vocals, this is a different story. I really enjoy the guitar sound all around. Definitely a highlight of this record. It has diversity, it has texture, it has a lot of fuzziness, and I love that fuzziness because it gives this album at times a little bit more grit, a little bit more heaviness, a little bit of a bigger push, and definitely a bigger punch. But the quality of execution from start to finish is just incredible. The sound may change ever so slightly depending on what the track calls for. More fuzziness here, a little bit thickness there, more of a groove approach here, more of a thrash metal approach there. All of those things are moving. They're all moving pieces within the guitar approach all around. But the quality and what you get from that quality, that stays very consistent from start to finish. The solos, for example, the solos on this record are phenomenal, bringing that classic heavy metal sound and then incorporating a few other external elements in order to elevate not just the quality but the experience that those solos give to the songs and then to the overall record. The vocals, the same thing. I have to say Manuel's vocals are phenomenal, super consistent from start to finish, but he is the perfect outlet. His voice, his tone is just absolutely phenomenal for a record that has this sort of sound. When you have a little bit of fuzziness on the guitars, when you have a little bit of grit in the overall sound, when you have a diversity of movement from track to track, you need something that holds all of it together. You need something that glues it all together. And his voice is definitely that glue, because regardless of where the song is taking, you always feel comfortable with the vocals that they're providing you. And that's a very important element in order for these songs to feel robust, to feel together, and to really gel, not just within themselves, but within the overall scope of this album. For a debut record, I was happily surprised with what I was given. I must say I went in with very low or minimal expectations whatsoever. And the quality of this record, song in and song out, really had me glued to it and made me come back to it time and time and time and time again. But one of the things that I enjoyed the most was definitely breaking down these songs and trying to understand exactly what drove that specific track. What were the building blocks that constructed that song? That was actually where I got the most enjoyment out of listening to this album. Now, as far as favorite songs are concerned, I want to start off with Colossal Gods. This is the opening song. Great guitar melody that opens up the track, and then it moves into a much thicker, fuzzier guitar sound, still with great melody. The vocals enhance the overall musical atmosphere that the song has. And then they used some backing vocals. You notice them more perhaps in the chorus than the verses, but they used some backing vocals as layers in order to give more substance to the overall vocal approach without making them heavy, without having to change too much. It just gives you a little bit more thickness to it, a thickness that it's needed in order to match the thickness of sound. The chorus is also a little bit more melodic, so you have this clear break between what you're getting in the verses and then what the chorus is going to give you. It helps almost levitate the track, if you will. The second half of the song becomes a little bit more powerful. This is not a song that is uniform from start to finish, that follows a pattern. No, not at all. It breaks that pattern halfway through, and then in the second half it's more about power, it's more about heaviness, it has more of a direct approach. The drums pick up in volume, they become heavier in order to help that substance that you really see coming into the forefront in that second half. Overall, this track is still dominated by the guitar playing and the vocals, but you see the ebbs and flows that exist, and you definitely see that clear cut between the first half of the track and the second half. Next, you have Tempest Rising, a very energetic song. This is a real fun track to listen to. The guitars and vocals are filled with energy, and they transmit that energy to the overall song, so the whole track is always exploding with fun moments throughout. It has great drums. The drum sound helps make the song feel a little bit more robust, so while it's an energetic track, it's not a thin sounding track. It has some substance, and that comes predominantly from the drum sound. Outstanding guitar solos. The guitar solos on this track are phenomenal, face melting. The way they come in, how they expose the track, they let the song breathe, they give the song a little bit extra life, they add energy to a song that was already energetic, really completing the overall design of what this song is all about. A song that it's fun, that's enjoyable, that just becomes an earworm, not necessarily because of a hooky chorus, but because of how it sounds and how it's put together. Last but not least, we have Scorched Earth. Extra fuzz on the guitars. That's what the doctor ordered, and that's exactly what you're going to get on this song. It feels a little bit darker because of it. It also feels like it has a little bit more volume, and that volume, that fuzziness, that thickness of sound adds to that sense of darkness, to that atmosphere that the track has. Also, the melodic side of the song adds to that same darkness because it's melodic, but that melody is not bright. That melody is a little bit dark. So there's all of these elements coming together in order to create a very unique atmosphere that stays very uniform throughout the entire song, while the elements themselves might be different from one another, but they all pulling in the same direction. The chorus is more melodic than the verses, so you have a little bit of ebbs and flows. It moves a little bit better. The drums sound magnificent. The vocals are up front. This is a track that has everything behind it as far as guitars, drums, and bass are concerned. And then you have the vocals up to the top in order for them to really drive what the song is all about, to push the song forward. Great dual solos, to have the two solos playing simultaneously. It's just phenomenal. It just adds extra life. It brings a little bit of light to a song that had a lot of darkness all around it, and it's an important aspect to it because the drums really pack a lot of volume, making the song feel very robust, using the guitars to add on to that sound, to add on to that experience, and then, like I said, the vocals on top really allowing you to gravitate towards them, hold on to them for the journey and for the ride that you're going to be on with Scorched Earth. This is it, Cobra The Impaler, Colossal Gods, out February 25th on Listenable Records. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.